Hi everybody, Rick Berube here for another and look at this, we are doing this live right here in the conference room on the 3rd floor at corporate.
Yes,
wow.
we are.
You must be special.
I am special.
She is special. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are here with real estate extraordinaire, told you I would say that, Rochelle Vannoy, yeah. Paul usually gives me the, the crowd, the fake crowd noise, but we'll give it to you. All right, okay, and I was telling you this morning, it's weird because our coaching call was this morning at 7:30.
Yes.
And she's just coming off another coaching call. And I was saying that she's a perfect example of somebody who's extremely efficient, lean and mean, does a lot of transactions, does well financially, and incredible customer service with only one assistant. So, and I know the last 3 years you've been in the 40s, 42, 45, 47 as far as closings go by yourself.
Yeah.
Last year, tell them about last year. Was a monumental year for you.
Last year, well, I finally crossed. So when I got into real estate, I set kind of financial goals where I said, okay, now I actually consider this a decent paying job, and then I considered, okay, once I get to this, then it's actually worth all the time, money, and effort that I put into this career. So.
And you crossed that board
because
unlike a lot of, I shouldn't say that. You already came into the business. You were already making 6 figures.
I was already making 6 figures. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So give an idea. You don't have to say monetarily, but transactionally wise, or you can, whatever you're comfortable. Where are you at year to date so far?
So year to date, I've got 21 closed and pending. And year to date, I am certainly on track for my best year ever by far. And that's for 2 reasons, Rick. Mm-hmm. So number one is obviously I've really decided to finally work the higher end market. Mm-hmm. And that has helped. And then the other thing, of course, is that the average sales price has gone up over the last few years here in town.
Organically.
So, yeah, organically.
Isn't that great? It's funny because like these buyers. I mean, we have markets in California. We're in Orange County. We're all the way down to Temecula, over to Rancho Cucamonga, which is actually a place. And the people that come from over there. I mean, these prices in Vegas are still incredible.
They're
Same with Phoenix.
Super cheap. Yeah. So I have had a lot more California buyers myself this year. I don't think over the valley, you hear about the California exodus, but I don't see it being really that many more actual purchasers percentage-wise than there has been in the past.
Yeah. Okay, this is not a political statement. I'm not a political person.
No, and I'm definitely not.
Have you seen Jesus just reminded me when you say exodus of California, have you seen the post of, it says, I've seen her in Arizona and Nevada. It says Realtor of the Year.
Yeah. You
see whose picture it is? Gavin Newsom.
Oh, right.
He's the number one reason. That's what. So it's a joke, but it's still kind of funny. But if you are in California, right? Especially, here's my theory.
The cheapest thing in California now, a condo, a crapper 1-bedroom condo is probably $550,000, $600,000. When you think about even with the prices having gone up, what you could get for $600,000 in our market, it's like night and day.
It's ridiculous.
That's a beautiful ranch or a 2-story 5-bedroom home.
2,500 square feet with a pool. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course it's much more desirable for people coming from other more expensive places, not just California. You've got Washington, Oregon, New York,
Minnesota. All over the place.
I haven't had any from
Minnesota. Oh yeah.
Minnesota.
Even Chicago. Chicago too. So we've got all kinds of people moving from all over the country because of our weather, and and let's face it. I mean, Phoenix is the number 2 destination after Texas.
Yes.
It's Texas, Phoenix, and we're number 6. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know we were number 6, but that doesn't surprise me actually. And hopefully one day we'll be as desirable a destination as Arizona. I think the more that our city diversifies and that we get more infrastructure in the outlying cities as well, that will encourage more and more people to move here.
Yeah, like I know that you live in Henderson, right? I live in Summerlin, and I'm telling you, you don't even know there's a strip, either place where, but honestly, for me, it's great to have it there, because you want to see a show and they're all coming back, You want to, the craziest thing
Go
I
to a
did is,
nice dinner. You
Yeah, right.
can just pretend like you're on vacation for
You
a
can.
day. You can go down and stay on the strip. But yeah, when you live here, I mean,
vacations, that's the first time I ever heard that when I moved here.
Yeah. It's
And they give deals to locals too, which is really cool.
Yes.
All right, so you're on pace to have your best year ever. You're already closed and pending more than, I mean, especially from a volume standpoint, more than half. Especially from a money standpoint, you're close. You're probably 3/4 of the way to what you did all of last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So last year I ended up with 43 deals closed. And my goal for this year is 60.
Yeah.
And I do think I know it is possible. Let me clarify
So
that.
you may.
And yes, income wise, I am about 2/3 of the way to what I made last year. So
Closing wise, you're about you're halfway to where you were last year, and definitely you've only been through a third of the year. A little more than a third, not much.
well, yeah, a little over a third.
Yeah. But because of these sale prices, your money is ahead, which is great. If something's got to be ahead, that's the place to be.
I guess so.
Just a theory.
No,
Remember one of my sayings is money makes nothing worse.
yes.
It's not shallow, it's just a fact.
It is true. You can help more people when you yourself work hard, make money, and do good things with it. The economy works because people spend, not because they save.
That's right. All right, so let's get into it then. So now we know what your results are. They're incredible, they're awesome. And so give them a little bit about, now here's the part you're not gonna like. Matter of fact, this morning we were talking about doing something different. I'm like, I know when you get to a certain level, it gets boring almost.
Yeah,
Right?
sometimes. Yeah.
Tell them what you do on a daily basis. I think they get it. By the way, when I come in the morning, most of the time her car is already here or at the same time as me, and we're like the second and third car. There's one other car here once in a while,
Yeah,
but that's about it.
yeah, that's about it. So yeah,
You start early.
I started early. So I have 2 masterminds that I'm in right now. One of them we meet weekly via Zoom call because they're from all over the United States. And that Zoom call is at 6 a.m., guys. And then I have another mastermind we meet once a month. And that's via Zoom right now too, but that is with local top producers. And then, so every day I get up about 5:30 in the morning, and I get dressed and ready and all of that stuff. I get to the office by 7 a.m., just like I'm in a regular job, right? I consider that clocking in. So if I'm not clocked into my job by 7 a.m., I'm technically tardy for my job. So between 7 and 8 o'clock, I do affirmations. I've had the same affirmation partner for about 6-7 years now. And I hand write out one of my scripts every day. I've been doing that for about 2.5-3 years now. And then after I get that done, I role play from 7:30 to 8. I get on the phones at 8 o'clock. And between 8 o'clock and noon is when I do my prospecting and lead follow-up. And my afternoon is for appointments. And I stop working at 6 o'clock and get home and make dinner.
You have most weekends off.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't work Sundays.
Yeah.
Ever. And Saturdays are usually only just like little stuff. So sometimes if I have a buyer, I'll push them to a Saturday, unless they just want to see like one house, and then we'll do it during the week or whatever.
And I was thinking when you were talking about your schedule, you also go on a major family 2-week vacation.
At least.
Well, except for last year, but every year.
Yeah, I usually take about 4 weeks vacation out of the year. So I do 1 week in the spring, 1 week in the fall, and usually 2 to 3 weeks in the summer.
Yeah, I remember one time I was a coaching call, I accidentally called you by mistake, and you were somewhere like I want to say Czechoslovakia. It was somebody.
I could have been, yeah.
She's like, it's 9 hours difference. Oops, sorry.
It's
But when you work hard, see the reason I said you're not going to like it is, personally, that's a very similar schedule that I did as an agent as well. And people don't realize that if you want to get the results that Rochelle's getting, there's a process. You got it. The mastermind groups. They don't get together and talk about current events. They're on their role play, getting better at their listing presentation, their expired script, their for sale by owner script. This is work.
Yes, it's work every day. every day.
But it's rewarding if you do it.
And you know, every job that you have, I don't care if you're working at McDonald's, if you're a teacher, if you work as a construction person, a bartender, it doesn't matter whatever job you have, there's always some parts of your job you love, there's some that you hate, and there's a whole bunch in the middle, right? So in real estate, what I love, hate, and are neutral about may not be the same thing as what they do feel that way about. But in the essence, what you have to understand is everything in life has highs and lows, and you have to do what it takes to get the results to have the rewards. So the only reason I get to go on vacations is because I do the mundane things every day of the week.
Right, and that's the thing too. And I think Darren Hardy, I know you love his book, Compound Effect, so do I. But he has the best definition, I think. He said, you take success in you, let's call it 100%. 90% of it is grueling, kind of a grind, repetitious. But if you get, I always think of them like the Rolling Stones. How many times do you think they played I Can't Get No Satisfaction?
More than they ever wanted to in their entire life.
But what they do is, if you're somebody that wants to go see them, you don't want to hear them the whole song a different way.
Right.
They maybe make a little, they add a little character to it, they change it up a little bit, but you can tell. So that's what it is. You can have fun when you get better at the same script or the same presentation. Okay, it allows you to have your personality.
That's right.
Right.
So one of the things that I did a couple of years ago, which helped me, being a high analytical, I'm so dry sometimes and boring
and honest.
Yeah, but what I did, it was a really good suggestion, is to add humor. What I didn't realize is that I wasn't nervous because it wasn't as emotional for me as it was for my buyers or sellers, but they were extremely. So by adding humor, it made them feel more comfortable with me. It made the situation more light. It made them, relax, open up, and things like that. So for me, that was one of the things that kind of made me, I think, more relatable to my clients.
More human.
More human. I really am human. I bleed, I swear.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, and the other thing is, speaking of that, you went on a little quest about becoming a little bit maybe more expressive, the 4 personality styles. Yeah. Which, it's kind of important if you understand the 4 personality styles when you're dealing with customers and clients to speak their language.
To definitely speak their language.
Like Rochelle knows her numbers, being an analytical.
Yeah. In fact, on the mastermind today, one of the people he asked, he goes, I want to know what I make per hour. And of course, he didn't really want the answer, I don't think, but I did tell him the answer. So I'll tell you guys, just in case you want to figure it out, because it's super easy. And then what you have to ask yourself is, am I doing the work that gets paid for that amount per hour, or am I doing what I could get paid at McDonald's for? Right. Okay? And that's what you have to ask yourself. But if you simply take the number of hours you work in a week and the number of weeks you work in a year, multiply that on a calculator if you can, and then you simply take that and divide it by how much money you made last year.
Yeah.
Then, simple as that. That's what you make per hour.
And then the great thing about real estate is, even if you don't like that initial number, in a year you can double it, you can triple it.
That's the best thing about real estate.
And you can do that for a few years in real estate if you get super efficient. As a matter of fact, it's what we were talking about this morning.
Yeah.
About you getting more efficient, and that's the other great thing about like somebody like Rochelle. They're always trying to get better at it too, even though they're already doing quite well, which is really fun to be.
It keeps it interesting, and it keeps it a challenge. You always have to have something, some goal that you're striving for. One of the other things I've tried to do more recently is set shorter goals as well as my long-term goals. So my long-term goal is 60 deals this year, but I've really been encouraged to try and say, okay, well, that breaks down to how many this quarter. Are you on track? What do you need for the next quarter? Don't backload towards the end. Try to get ahead of the game. So it's better to be in a race where you're in the front versus in the back and saying, oh crap, I gotta go 5 times faster to get up to the front.
So true. So speaking of that, let's get in. So let's say some of these people watching are new, or some people are trying to take their business to the next level. What would be the 3 most important pieces of advice you tell them to focus on? My favorite question, as you know.
It probably is.
It is my favorite question.
What 3 things would I have them focus on? Their schedule. Your schedule determines how dedicated, motivated, and excited you are to achieve your goals. Without a schedule, you won't go anywhere. Think about it as a boat without a rudder in the ocean. Without a rudder, it just swims around wherever the wind blows it, right? With a schedule, you go from point A to point B with that goal as long as you follow it, right? Yeah. So then the next thing I would tell them, besides to have a schedule, is set goals. Without a goal, without a destination, I mean, saying I wish I could, or I would like to, or if I could, is a complete waste of time. You have to set something in stone and decide and make it real.
Well, I think when you say I wish, or I'm going to, or I will, it's just really being lazy, because, you know, like, here's the number 1 answer. How much do you want to do this year? More.
Yeah.
That's not a real answer.
That could be $1 more, right?
Yeah.
So if you made $50,000 last year, well, you're going to make $50,000 in $1. It's more, right? So you have to set yourself up with very specific, realistic goals to achieve yourself for. Okay, so have a schedule, set goals, and the other thing I would say is get a coach or get accountability, get someone to kick you in the, you know what, because human nature is the path of least resistance. And, you know, there's an interesting saying I've heard from a book, and it's talking about this guy. He had a farm. He was a farmer, and someone commented and said, you know, gosh, your land is so beautiful. God has really blessed you. And he said to the guy, he goes, yeah, you should have seen it though when God had it all to himself, right? Because it was full of weeds. It didn't have any lands. You know, it wasn't terraced. It was half green and half not. Right? So it's the same kind of thing in our life. You have to really have that out there. And if you don't have someone who can either help you vision that or get that, you really won't get there. Yeah.
So like when you were talking earlier about your affirmations with setting goals. So your goals, your affirmations are affirmations of the goals that you have, right?
Correct.
Explain that to them a little bit, so and why that is so, it's like setting the mental GPS, right?
Yes, and a couple of other things I've started to do this year, which are also helping. So I've been saying affirmations out loud to another person for, like I said, 6-7 years, right, on the phone, because they're not here in town. But another thing that I've started doing very recently, which I like and I am improving on every single day to get better at, is actually physically writing them out, not on a computer, not hand writing them out. So after I write out my script now, I've been writing on the same piece of paper out my goals, my affirmations. And then another thing I started was right before bed, I put a book by my bed and a pen, and I open it up and I just write whatever comes to my mind.
Journaling, that's all good
because
stuff.
The last thoughts that you put in your brain is what your brain literally thinks about. You may not believe this, but it is true. Because sometimes, okay, you know how I can tell you that you'll know this is true? When you get out of your car, the last song that was on, what do you hum until you hear something else? That same song, because it's stuck in your head. It's the same kind of thing with your goals.
Yeah. That's why when I get into an elevator with a lot of people, I just start whistling It's a Small World. If you have that in your head all day, it'll drive you crazy. If you've ever been to Disney, you know exactly what I'm talking about. No, I totally agree with that, and it's like, it's weird the way, it's, you know, that reticular activator in your brain. When you start telling yourself, and you tell yourself something enough, you start to believe it, and then even at an unconscious level, you start acting and seeing different things, right? It's kind of crazy.
That is correct.
I'm from New England. When I first heard this from my crazy friends from California, I didn't totally agree with that.
I didn't believe it at first either. Trust me, it took years.
Especially as an analytical, you need proof.
Oh, I need proof, yeah. But it is crazy sometimes when I'm really focused and I say something and I think it and I believe have to believe it. What is that? Blind faith.
Blind faith.
You have to have blind faith, and it took me years to be willing to be open to blind faith, but it is crazy sometimes.
Like even in that book, the New Psycho-Cybernetics, they even say what you're talking about going to sleep is you can ask yourself a question, you can put a thought, and it'll be part of your dreams too if you do it.
Yeah.
If you're like right before you go to bed, part of your meditation. All right, so that was 2, right?
No, we had 3.
We had
Come on, Rick.
schedule,
Follow along. Schedule.
goals, and accountability. See, I even forgot about accountability, and that's my job. Sorry. Got to be held accountable.
Wow.
You know, and that's for a lot of people, the first 2 are a lot easier. The third one is like where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, it's easy to set a plan and put it in the drawer and forget it. It's easy to write out a schedule and again, put it in the drawer and never implement it. So if you don't implement those first 2, someone holding you accountable is just going to frustrate you.
Yeah.
You have to have the desire, the goal, the drive, the thing, and I don't care what it is. I mean, this applies to all parts of your life. So I know about myself also. I feel better, Rick, when I am leaner and meaner. When I'm heavier, for me, not that anybody else cares, because nobody does, trust me. But it does, no, that's the truth too. You have to realize that other people really don't care.
They don't. As soon as you understand that, you know, it makes life a lot easier.
It does make life a lot easier. But whatever motivates you, so that motivates me. It makes me more excited. It gives me more energy. It makes me more.
Yeah, I think that health part, where, you know, a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it actually becomes fun. Like, you keep track of everything. You keep track of, like, your workout, your diet, your weight. It's exciting as you start seeing progress.
It takes a long time the older you get, I will say that. But at the same time, like, one of the things I had won a thing. I'll get off track only for a minute, I promise. I won a thing for a training, right?
Right.
And I love this guy. He's amazing. So if you want his name and number, I'll give it to you. But he's in Summerlin. And so I had to trek across town to go to his thing. And I ended up doing it. I got my husband to do it. And I got, honestly, in the best shape I had been in my life. I was super strong. I
remember that actually,
yeah. Yeah, that was a few years ago.
A few years ago, yeah.
And I thought I could do it on my own. But needless to say, there was a point to it.
Well, because you knew you were going to his thing, and
Well, what I was gonna say is it shows you the difference of doing it on your own and having someone else hold you accountable to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the key right there. So, like, in my gym, one of them happens to be Tina's cousin. There's like 5 or 6 women, and they have one male trainer. His name's Chris, and he's like, every time I see him, I say, "You're beating him today, right?" "Oh yeah, all right." You got to be tough. You got to be tough on them, because that's what accountability. But think about this. Think about the mindset of somebody. Like, I have a gym card. I can go to my gym. Now I have a gym card, and I prepaid for 3 months of a personal trainer 3 days a week. Your commitment level is different. Yeah. It says I am really committed, and once you create that habit and that discipline, it's easier to keep it.
Much easier to keep it, yes. Once you get to a certain spot, it makes it easier. And that's the same thing in real estate. Okay, guys? So I tell people all the time that if you don't have the consistency, it's like picking up a tire, pushing it, and then letting it fall down. Every time you have to pick it up, that's freaking hard,
heavy,
right? But once it's up, rolling it is just a little push every day.
Right.
It's not that bad. I have another person that I know, she literally, this will scare you guys, but she figured out in the last 6 months from not doing her lead follow-up, she lost $100,000 in potential income. So, consistency, right? Especially in the market that we have here, with things moving fast right now, if you're not following up with the people they're listing and selling with somebody else, I know, I do my lead follow-up consistently now, but I still find ones sometimes because I didn't think they were as motivated as they were, and I put them further back, and I'll call them, "Oh yeah, we're listed, we've already sold." So, it's like...
That's what I call it, lead FU, follow-up. Because if you do it, you feel good. If you forget, that's kind of what it feels like. All right. So and then well, this is a company moment. Shameless plug here.
What?
Even you have switched from whatever that computer program was. I meant to say
Oh, yes, I
to
did.
the VAC 2.0. You talk about lead follow-up. If you actually use the VAC 2.0, even your assistant said, "Oh my God, this blows away what we were using." So if you actually incorporate that, because let's face it, junk mail doesn't work. More
No.
people open email than they will junk mail. Now, if you're delivering it to their house, totally different. But if
Right.
you're emailing something you've asked permission to send them, and then you're checking up with phone calls, that's a tremendous way to do your follow-up too.
Correct, yeah. I do have to say that now that I'm getting in, because this is really the first year I have most of my people set up on getting their values of their houses and their neighborhoods and getting the monthly newsletters from me that way. And it's interesting how many people respond, you know. I sent out a Mother's Day thing, and many people just emailed me, "Thank you so much for thinking about me,"
Right.
and things like that. So, I always try to give great customer service and be there for my clients,
Yes, you do.
and
That's
they
for sure.
know they can call me no matter what their question is, and if I don't know the answer, I'll find it.
And you know your market, you know values. Plus, tell me what we were talking about this morning, where you were door knocking yesterday.
I was door knocking yesterday.
And how do people treat you when their house has appreciated 2% in the last month? It's an easy time to go door knocking.
It's a great time to go door knocking, yeah. And the weather's not that hot.
And what percentage of people were home, honestly?
So I talked to 16 people while I was door knocking yesterday afternoon, so that was in 2 hours. But the neighborhood I was in was homes that are far apart. So I literally would knock a cul-de-sac, drive to the next one, knock a cul-de-sac, that type of thing. It's pretty spread out. Otherwise it would have been
Right.
percentage-wise much higher. But yeah, I mean, I had quite a few really good conversations, and so even though I didn't get a listing appointment by that day, it does happen sometimes, and I did get a lead on a guy, because he told me after we talked for a while that his neighbor who's out of town right now wants to sell, so I guess he's gonna get a call later.
And you can load up your names, addresses, and load them up and give them, like you said, the neighborhood reports, or the market report, or the newsletters, or all the above. Just don't overdo it. I think like a market report, like at the beginning of the month, and then a newsletter mid-month. So every like 2 weeks, they're getting something from you.
Yeah, that's-
Otherwise, it becomes
Obnoxious.
right.
Yeah.
And then they just delete you and stop getting your stuff. So you want to get them to keep getting it. But remember, the phone call, the voice is
I
what
was
ties it down.
just gonna say that, because there's many people that I'll talk to, and they'll hire me, and they'll say, "Oh, I've been getting stuff from someone," and they don't even know who, right? Because that person never called them again. They just set it and forget it, right? So the key is the personal contact, and it's amazing how many people now I say that I talk to, and they say, "I'm gonna keep your phone number, and I'm putting your phone number in my phone," and I know they do, because then when I call them back again, they answer me, and they say, "Oh yeah, you're in my phone, Rochelle," So when you give value, when you show value, people will keep you and use you, whether
Right.
that's today.
And refer you
And refer you,
to their friends and family.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Do you want to tell them what you're going to do again this year? Do the affirmation one more time. How many closings are you going to have again this year?
I have closed 60 deals in 2021, and I will have multiple $100,000 months closings this month.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Woo!